There comes a moment in life, maybe once, maybe often, when the world feels like it's closing in, when your dreams feel miles away, and your energy is spent just trying to survive the day. In those moments, we tend to ask ourselves the wrong question, why me? But what if I told you that the question isn't why me? The real question is what now? Because within that pain, your feeling lies the blueprint of your strength. Your pain is not a punishment. It is your power waiting to be awakened. Every great success story begins not with comfort, but with conflict. The most resilient people you admire, they were once right where you are now, broken, exhausted, uncertain. The difference isn't that they escaped the pain. It's that they used it. They found meaning in the misery, purpose in the pressure, and growth in the grind. Pain is a universal language. It doesn't discriminate. It visits the strong and the weak, the rich and the poor, the dreamers and the doubters. But here's the truth no one tells you. Pain is not the enemy, it's the catalyst, the scars you carry. They're not signs of weakness. They are the evidence that you survived, that you endured, and that you fought back. Pain carves into your soul, but not to break you. It carves to create space for wisdom, space for strength, space for purpose. And you want to know something extraordinary. Some of the most powerful, purposeful, world-changing ideas were born not in boardrooms, but in rock-bottom moments. When someone decided, I will not be defined by what broke me, I will be defined by how I rebuild. Pain is not your enemy. It's the moment life shakes you awake. It's the jolt that forces you to stop going through the motions and start living with intention. Pain grabs your attention when nothing else can. You don't notice your strength when everything is easy. You don't discover your resilience when everything is working in your favor. But when it hurts, really hurts, that's when something inside you begins to stir. That's when your heart and your mind begin to search for more. It's when you stop asking for comfort and start demanding growth. That pain you feel, it's your body, your soul, and your purpose colliding in one brutal, necessary moment of awakening. Most people fear pain. They run from it. They numb it. They try to hide it behind distractions, routines, and temporary pleasures. But the truth is, every great transformation starts with discomfort. No one changes in the middle of comfort. No one unlocks potential while everything is working perfectly. It is in the moments of pressure and despair that true breakthroughs are born. Pain is the heat that forges the steel of your character. It's the wilderness where your deepest strength is revealed. It strips you of illusions and forces you to confront your limits, your beliefs, and your true self. And when you stop resisting it, when you finally look it in the eye, you find clarity. You find fire. You find your reason to rise. You see, pain has a language all its own. It speaks in silence and suffering, but it also speaks in growth and grit. Every sleepless night you've endured, every breakdown you've survived, every time you wanted to quit but chose to stay, those moments were writing a new chapter of your story, not one of weakness, but of awakening. That pain was never meant to bury you. It was meant to uncover the part of you that you forgot existed, the part that doesn't settle, the part that doesn't quit, the part that refuses to stay broken. Pain teaches you things success never will. Success can make you arrogant. It can make you complacent, but pain humbles you. It forces you to ask deeper questions. It leads you to truths you would have never discovered if everything had stayed easy. It introduces you to empathy, to patience, to depth. It brings you back to what matters. It redefines what you value. And while it doesn't feel like it in the moment, pain gives you an edge. It sharpens your instincts. It builds mental muscle. It creates a fire in your gut that no one can take away from you. The person who has walked through fire without losing themselves walks differently. They lead differently. They speak from a place of authenticity that cannot be faked. Because they didn't read about adversity in a book. They lived it, they endured it, they rose from it. That kind of power doesn't come from theory. It comes from the battlefield of your own life. Pain is not your enemy. It's the moment life shakes you awake. It's the jolt that forces you to stop going through the motions and start living with intention. Pain grabs your attention when nothing else can. You don't notice your strength when everything is easy. You don't discover your resilience when everything is working in your favor. But when it hurts, really hurts, that's when something inside you begins to stir. That's when your heart and your mind begin to search for more. It's when you stop asking for comfort and start demanding growth. That pain you feel, it's your body, your soul, and your purpose colliding in one brutal, necessary moment of awakening. Most people fear pain. They run from it, they numb it. They try to hide it behind distractions, routines, and temporary pleasures. But the truth is, every great transformation starts with discomfort. No one changes in the middle of comfort. No one unlocks potential while everything is working perfectly. It is in the moments of pressure and despair that true breakthroughs are born. Pain is the heat that forges the steel of your character. It's the wilderness where your deepest strength is revealed. It strips you of illusions and forces you to confront your limits, your beliefs, and your true self. And when you stop resisting it, when you finally look it in the eye, you find clarity. You find fire. You find your reason to rise. You see, pain has a language all its own. It speaks in silence and suffering, but it also speaks in growth and grit. Every sleepless night you've endured, every breakdown you've survived, every time you wanted to quit, but chose to stay, those moments were writing a new chapter of your story, not one of weakness, but of awakening. That pain was never meant to bury you. It was meant to uncover the part of you that you forgot existed, the part that doesn't settle, the part that doesn't quit, the part that refuses to stay broken. Pain teaches you things success never will. Success can make you arrogant. It can make you complacent, but pain humbles you. It forces you to ask deeper questions. It leads you to truths you would have never discovered if everything had stayed easy. It introduces you to empathy, to patience, to depth. It brings you back to what matters. It redefines what you value, and while it doesn't feel like it in the moment, pain gives you an edge. It sharpens your instincts. It builds mental muscle. It creates a fire in your gut that no one can take away from you. The person who has walked through fire without losing themselves walks differently. They lead differently. They speak from a place of authenticity that cannot be faked. Because they didn't read about adversity in a book. They lived it. They endured it. They rose from it. That kind of power doesn't come from theory. It comes from the battlefield of your own life. Struggles are not signs that you're failing. They are the process through which your strength is being sculpted. Every challenge you face, every roadblock you encounter, every disappointment that shakes you to your core is working something out within you. It might not be visible on the surface, but inside, a transformation is taking place. Struggles are like the resistance in a gym workout. Without them, you don't grow. Without that tension, without that pain, there is no progress. The same way a muscle tears before it becomes stronger, your character is shaped through trials that test your limits. It's not about whether the struggle is fair, it's about what that struggle is forming in you. Too often, people see obstacles as interruptions to their goals, when in reality, they are the pathway to those goals. The mountain wasn't put in front of you to stop you. It was placed there to teach you how to climb, to force you to dig deeper, to push you beyond what you thought was possible. Struggles refine you. They challenge you to become sharper, more resilient, more focused. They remove the excess and reveal the essential. You discover what really drives you only when it feels like everything around you is trying to push you back. That's when your internal fire gets tested. That's when your intentions are purified. You may not recognize it at the time, but every hardship you go through is making you stronger for the next stage of your life. That betrayal, it taught you who to trust. That failure, it taught you how to bounce back. That loss, it taught you how to appreciate what matters. Struggles are not random events. They are necessary ingredients in the recipe of greatness. You don't become a strong leader, a powerful voice, a grounded individual by avoiding struggle. You become those things by surviving it, by learning from it, and by walking through it with your head held high even when your heart is heavy. You can't fake the growth that comes from real struggle. It changes how you see the world. It teaches you compassion. It makes you more driven, more disciplined. When you've had to work twice as hard just to stay in the race, you develop an internal fuel that others can't understand. That strength can't be bought, and it can't be borrowed. It's earned moment by moment through the grit of your grind. People often say they want to be strong, but what they really mean is they want to feel strong without going through what it takes to become strong. That's not how strength works. Strength is not just lifting heavy things or enduring pain, it's becoming wiser, more composed, more unshakable as a result of it. When you face adversity, you're not just surviving, you're being forged. You're being prepared for greater responsibility, bigger dreams, and deeper meaning. Struggles make you serious. They make you intentional. They strip away the noise and force you to focus on what really matters. The version of you that emerges from hardship isn't the same person who entered it. There's more courage, more depth, more clarity, because you didn't just go through something. You grew through it. Scars don't weaken you. They prove you've endured something most people would have collapsed under. They are not ugly marks of defeat, but powerful symbols of survival. Every scar, visible or invisible, tells a story of a moment where life tried to break you, but you didn't let it. You bled, you cried, you felt the weight of hopelessness pressing on your chest, but somehow you got up again. You moved forward even when everything inside you said stop, and now that scar stands as proof, not that you were hurt, but that you healed. That you kept going when most people would have stayed down, that you didn't quit. In a world obsessed with perfection, strength often gets misunderstood. People think it looks like always being confident, always being unbothered, always having it together. But real strength has nothing to do with appearances. Real strength is surviving the storm with your soul still intact. It's showing up again after you've failed publicly, after you've lost everything, after you've been broken in ways no one else can see. And when you walk into the room with those unseen scars, you're carrying something powerful experience. You know pain, you know struggle, you know what it feels like to fight battles no one else even noticed you were fighting. That knowledge, that resilience, that mental armor, it's what separates you from the crowd. People often try to hide their scars out of shame or fear of judgment, but those scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs of life. You survived things that were meant to break you. You adapted, you learned, you endured, and those who truly understand strength will recognize the value in those marks. Your scars connect you with others. They speak a language deeper than words, a language of empathy, of courage, of triumph. They give you credibility, because when you speak about resilience, it's not theory, it's truth. You've lived it. You've earned the right to talk about it. There's something incredibly powerful about a person who carries their scars openly. It shows they are not defined by their pain, but refined by it. It shows they've stopped running from their past and have chosen to own it, to stand on top of it, to let it be the platform from which they speak, lead, and serve. They aren't pretending to be perfect. They're proving that imperfection can still rise, that broken can still be beautiful, that damage doesn't mean defeated. When people see your scars, they see proof that pain can be overcome. They see a roadmap of survival, And maybe, just maybe, your scars give them the courage to face their own. Because strength doesn't come from hiding what hurt you. It comes from healing and having the courage to say, yes, this happened to me, and I'm still standing. That is the kind of strength that inspires. That is the kind of strength that shakes people awake. Because it's raw, it's real, and it's rooted in truth. There is something profoundly transformative about reaching your lowest point. It's the place where everything familiar is stripped away, where the noise of the world fades, and you are left with only yourself and the raw truth of your existence. It's uncomfortable, it's terrifying, but it's also sacred because it's there when you have nothing left, that the seeds of your highest purpose begin to take root. In the silence of rock bottom, a new voice starts to whisper. It's the voice of clarity. It's the voice of conviction, and for the first time, perhaps in your whole life, you begin to see things for what they are, not what you pretended them to be. When you hit your lowest point, you stop trying to impress anyone. You stop chasing approval. You stop living according to expectations that were never yours to begin with. The pain of that descent into darkness forces you to shed every mask, every lie, every illusion. And in that honest emptiness, you begin to rediscover who you really are. Not the version of you shaped by pressure, by culture, by comparison, but the real you, the one who existed before the world told you who to be. That rediscovery is where purpose begins to ignite, because purpose doesn't come to the version of you that's pretending. It comes to the one who's been broken open and is ready to listen. The lowest moments of your life are often the ones that change your entire direction. They cause you to ask better questions. What am I really here for? What legacy do I want to leave? What do I want to fight for, even when it hurts? These aren't surface-level questions. These are the deep, soul-level questions that don't show up when things are going smoothly. They only surface when life cracks you open, and when they do, they open the door to a calling that's bigger than your comfort zone. That's when passion stops being about what's fun and starts becoming about what's meaningful. There is a fire that is born in the darkest places. When you've been through real pain, you move differently. You stop wasting time. You stop entertaining things that drain your energy. You start moving with purpose, because you've seen what it's like to feel empty. You've seen what it's like to lose hope. And now that you're rebuilding, every step has intention. Every move is calculated. You start building a life that matters, not to the world, but to your soul. That sense of purpose doesn't come from books or motivational quotes. It comes from surviving something real and realizing that your life must count for something more. The lowest point forces you to become the architect of your own comeback. No one's coming to rescue you. No one's handing you a map. But in that absence of certainty, you find creativity. You find determination. You realize that your story can't end here, because something inside you is still burning. Something inside you still wants to create, still wants to contribute, still wants to impact others in ways you never thought possible. That desire to turn pain into purpose isn't accidental. It's the beginning of a mission. Struggle has a way of stripping life down to its essence. When everything is easy, it's tempting to fill your days with distractions, to chase superficial goals, and to live on autopilot. But when adversity strikes, when things fall apart, when plans fail, when people leave, that's when clarity begins to emerge. Struggle forces you to pause and reevaluate. It brings your priorities into sharp focus. The noise fades, and what really matters begins to speak loudly. In the face of hardship, you discover that so much of what you once chased was empty. You start to question the things you gave your energy to, the people you surrounded yourself with, and the dreams you thought you wanted. Struggle challenges you to let go of the meaningless and make room for the meaningful. There's a brutal honesty that comes with pain. When you're hurting, There's no time for pretending. The masks fall off. The performances stop. You become raw, real, and brutally honest with yourself, and in that honesty, something powerful happens. You begin to reconnect with your core. You begin to ask yourself the questions you've been avoiding. What am I doing this for? Who am I trying to become? What truly brings me peace, not just pleasure? These aren't questions people often ask when life is going well. They're the kind of questions that are birthed in struggle. Questions that refine your direction and give your life a deeper sense of meaning. Struggle doesn't just clarify what matters. It clarifies who matters. When you're broken, you quickly find out who shows up and who fades away. You begin to separate the real from the fake, the supportive from the convenient. Struggle has a way of exposing people's true character, and in doing so, it helps you build stronger, more authentic relationships. You begin to value people not for what they can do for you, but for who they are when everything is falling apart. And just as it exposes others, it exposes you to yourself. You discover your weaknesses, your blind spots, your vulnerabilities, but you also discover strength you didn't know you had. That self-awareness, born from pain, becomes a foundation for growth. When life forces you into a corner, you stop trying to be everything to everyone. You stop trying to do things for validation or applause. You simplify. You cut the fluff. You return to the basics of what gives you energy, what gives you hope, and what makes you feel alive. That's the gift struggle gives you. It filters out the noise and refocuses your attention on what truly matters. Whether it's your health, your peace, your purpose, or the relationships that sustain you, struggle helps you see those things with new eyes. What once seemed important no longer holds power over you. Titles, opinions, status, approval. None of it matters when you're fighting to find light in the dark. You begin to recognize that your time and your energy are sacred. You no longer give them away freely. You become intentional, purposeful, selective, and from that place of clarity, you start to build a life that feels more authentic and more aligned than anything you had before the struggle began. There's a reason your story matters, and it's not just because you survived what others couldn't see. It's because someone out there is going through what you already made it through. Your story, your pain, your journey, your fight. It's not just yours to carry in silence. It holds the power to light the path for someone else who's walking through their own darkness. You may think that what you went through was just for you, but the truth is, your experience is a gift. Your scars, your breakdowns, your comebacks, they are someone else's survival guide waiting to be heard, felt, and seen. We live in a world where everyone wants to look strong, but few are willing to show what it took to get there. That's why your voice is needed more than ever. When you speak from your truth, you don't just inspire. You liberate. You give permission to others to be real, to be vulnerable, to admit they're struggling too. And that moment of honesty, that ripple of authenticity, has the power to save lives. Because people aren't just looking for polished perfection. They're looking for someone who gets it, someone who has felt the same fear, the same pain, the same hopelessness, and still found a way to rise. That someone can be you. Your experience didn't break you. It built you into someone others can look up to, and not just because you made it through, but because you remember what it felt like to be in the middle of it. That memory is powerful. It allows you to connect with empathy, not pity. It allows you to uplift without preaching, to guide without judging. You carry a strength now that can't be measured by surface-level success. It's the kind of strength that resonates deeply with people who are still trying to figure out how to get back up. Every time you share your truth, you create a bridge from pain to healing, from isolation to connection. And you never know who needs that bridge. It could be someone on the edge, someone thinking of giving up, someone who feels invisible. Your story could be the reason they hold on a little longer. That's the kind of impact we all have the potential to make. Not through pretending we've always had it together, but by admitting that we haven't and showing what it looks like to fight forward anyway. You don't need to be famous. You don't need a platform. You don't need everything figured out. You just need to be real, be honest, be brave enough to own your past and strong enough to speak from it. The power is already in your story. It's in the nights you cried, the mornings you pushed through, the moments you almost gave up but didn't. That's what people need to hear. That's what turns your journey into someone else's hope. Not by being perfect, but by being proof that healing is possible, that pain can become purpose, and that even in the darkest moments, something beautiful can be born.